Hello everyone and welcome back to part 4 of Final Fantasy VII. In the last part, we dressed up Cloud as a girl, and now we're gonna go to the old Don's mansion, break in, save Tifa, all that jazz. You know, it's a fun time. Man, Cloud passes so well, doesn't he? This guy's just like, damn, your friend's hot too. Alright, welcome to Don Corneo's mansion. So the Don, he's a bit of a creep. He, he kind of just picks girls. Girls get presented to him, and then he picks which one he wants to sleep with. He's not the greatest of guys, but, you know, it's fine. There's Tifa. In whatever the fuck this room is. Use your imagination. And Cloud's a little too embarrassed to confront Tifa, so he's kind of hiding off to the side. Tifa kind of reacted weird to that. To Aerith saying that she's with Cloud, but Aerith didn't mean anything by it, or did she? But why did Tifa react that way? I mean, the answer should be pretty obvious, but in case you're a dum-dum, I won't spoil it. And then Tifa realizes what Cloud has done. Oh, sure, Cloud. It's not because you wanted to. Why did you put all the makeup on, all that? You went way overboard. Aerith is a sassy one. So yeah, Tifa is saying that after the Sector 5 fiasco, they went and found this weird dude who then brought up the name Don Corneo, having some connection to the Shinra, so Tifa went to check it out. And the Shinra's skeeving something, let me tell you. They are up to something. They are not happy with Avalanche at this moment, so they're up to something. They're up to something not great. As you know, most corporations are. Especially if they have control over the world. It'll bring this up in a bit, but this Midgar technically does still elect a mayor, but the mayor has pretty much no power. The Shinra has all the power at this point. So it gives the people this illusion that they have control over their government, but they don't. There is no need to ask. So yeah, they're gonna go confront Don Corneo, and Cloud is going to be one of the girls that is presented to him. So I think you know where this is going. He's gonna pick one to sleep with. Depending on how many things you get, the more likely he is to pick Cloud as the girl. So if you get all the things, doll Cloud up, super nice, get the makeup, the lingerie, the tiara, he's pretty much guaranteed to pick Cloud. And you know, it's something magical. And here's me being indecisive as fuck about materia again. You will see this a lot throughout this playthrough. I've already mentioned that, but it needs to be restated. You will see me just like constantly, scrolling through people's materia slots multiple times to be like, is this what I want? Yeah, this is what I want. Alright, here we are. Line up in front of the Don. Yeah. He jumps up on his desk. Which girl is he gonna choose? I wonder. He's really eyeing Cloud. Drum roll. Ta-da! It's Cloud. I've always wondered, I mean, he can pick any of the other two girls if you, like, don't get everything, but how do they feel? How do Aerith and Tifa feel to know that Girl Cloud is more attractive to Don Corneo than to actual, like, the two actual girls? Like, they're probably like, shit, what am I doing wrong? Alright, now we're getting to this fucking mess. Come to daddy. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, first let me get that hyper behind the bed. He's eyeing Cloud. Yeah, I like you. Of course I like you. Yeah, I mean, there's only one option you can really pick here. Come on. A kiss? I mean, alright, I suppose. You can see me thinking about it. Cloud was really gonna do it. Cloud. Tifa's just like, what the fuck, Cloud? What are you doing, dude? I'll chop them off. I wonder what they're talking about here. This is one of those segments of the game where it's clearly just Squaresoft taking advantage of the lack of censorship. Because Sony didn't really care. You know, Sony kind of marketed itself as more of an adult console. And even though this game kind of looks like Roblox, like I said, this isn't a kid's game at all. There's language, there's some adult stuff, plenty, a fuck ton of innuendos. Like, holy shit. I mean, you can see it here. It's just ridiculous. Point being, this game is awesome, and I love this game. I'm gonna say that so much. Yeah, this playthrough, I'll smash them. You know, maybe Don Corneo's into a bit of cock and ball torture. You know, that's fine. Even though he's not, you know. Basically, what Don Corneo is saying here, what they're getting out of him, is that Shinra is planning to kill Avalanche by literally, they found out where their secret base is, and they're literally going to crush them by dismantling the plate above Sector 7 and just crushing in the entirety of the slums in Sector 7, which will kill a countless amount of people, but they don't care. They would just want to get rid of Avalanche. And yeah, because if you remember, the Midgar is split into two segments. There's the lower segment where all the poor people live, the slums, and then there is the upper segment where all the better off people live, usually people who work for the Shinra Corporation. But they're going to release the top plate down onto the slums to kill Avalanche, pretty much. The entirety of Sector 7, but that's a sacrifice they're willing to make. And also, if you saw, Cloud and the gang just fell into a trap from Don Corneo. And here are some of the Shinra executives talking. The president, Reeve, and the other one. Why am I forgetting his name? Oh, Hediger. Yeah, Hediger. I don't know. This game doesn't have voice acting. I don't know how to pronounce it, but they're talking, and Reeve seems a little more reluctant to their plan than the other two. But he's still going along with it. And Hediger, I don't know. I need to look up pronunciations. He just mentioned the mayor and how the mayor can't really do anything. He just sits in his office stuffing his face all day. So he's pretty much powerless in the government now that Shinra has taken over. And they're destroying Sector 7 and reporting that Avalanche did it, even though it's the Shinra doing it to get rid of Avalanche. But to gain the trust of the people, since they control the newspapers, they will say that Avalanche did it. Once again, it's almost like private corporations don't have the people's best interest in mind. Not at all relevant ideas in today's climate. That is one of the things I really enjoy about this game, though, is it's not afraid to say something that might be considered a hot take, even today. It's not afraid to go to more, have some political commentary, to go to some more intelligent, thoughtful places than most video game stories will go. And I'm saying that as we're fighting this giant sewer monster under the Don Corneo's mansion, but, you know, it's fine. This boss is pretty easy. He's really weak to fire, so you should be casting fire on him. And then I'm kind of just spamming spells, and then when you get a limit break, of course, you should use it. Aerith's limit break is a little different. It's not a hard-hitting attack. She'll heal the entire party with her limit break, which is really nice. And I've explained the materia system back in part 2, but one thing I failed to explain is the different types of materia. Materia has, I think, 5 different types. There's the green materia, which is your standard magic materia. You equip it, a character can now use whatever spell that materia is. So you equip a green bolt materia, you can now use bolt or lightning. You equip an ice materia, you can use ice, you can, etc., etc. But there's also blue materia, and those will enhance the abilities of a green materia. So for example, if you link a blue materia, because you'll notice in equipment slots, some slots are linked together in, character materia slots. If you link a blue materia with a green materia together in those 2 slots, the blue materia will enhance the green materia. So for example, if you combine a bolt materia with the all materia, then suddenly you can cast bolt on all targets if there's multiple targets in a battle versus just one target. So that's super useful. Or there's also, we'll get this in a bit later, is an elemental materia, which if you equip that to your weapon or armor, it will give, even if you do a normal attack with that weapon, it will give that weapon the element of whatever materia the elemental materia is linked with. So if you do lightning elemental on Cloud's Buster Sword, for example, his Buster Sword will now get an electric charge, so now it's super strong against metal enemies that are weak to electric moves. So that's a super cool mechanic. There's also yellow materia, which we're about to get one here. And yellow materia are just standard abilities. So maybe an ability like Steal, which is the first one we're going to get. So you can steal items from enemies in battles. Or Sense, which lets you, basically it tells you what an enemy is weak to, how much HP it has, stuff like that. So yellow materia are also very useful. You can't link those with blue materia though. That doesn't do anything. And then there's also purple materia, which are typically stat buffing materia. So there's HP up, luck up, MP up, and they do exactly what the materia says it does. It increases your HP, MP, luck, etc. Purple materia don't really become super useful until much later in the game. You don't really get any until much later in the game. For some reason, cover is also a purple materia. I don't fully understand why. I think it should be yellow, but oh well. For the most part, purple materia will increase your stats. And then there's finally red materia, which are your summons, which we won't get until way later, like probably for not another 5 parts or so, but that's fine. Summons are also very useful and very flashy and over the top, so you know they're great. But what we're doing right now in the story is we are trying to get out of the sewers and go find Barret and, you know, clear Sector 7 before the Shinra collapses it. So, you know, they're kind of in a hurry right now. This is, I mean, a lot of people are about to die unless we step in and do something. So, yeah. And now we are in the train graveyard, which is right next to Sector 7. And this is the song that I mentioned that I love, Anxious Heart, one of my favorite songs in this game. This game has atmosphere. And this song just oozes with atmosphere. But yeah. And I'm just going to save really quick. I might start cutting out saves. I mean, it takes like 2 seconds, so it's really not a huge deal, but yeah. And that's me. I'm saving in a second slot. just in case a recording goes bad. So every time I start a new recording session, I will save in the other slot. Like, I have 2 slots, so once I complete a recording session, I will check to make sure it's processed correctly, all of that stuff. And then, once I know that, when I start the next recording session, I will save in the other slot, just in case that goes wrong, so if I need to re-record it, you know, I have the last save point before I started recording this most recent session. Hopefully that will prevent me from, you know, having to play the entire fucking game over again. I mean, we'll see if something goes horribly wrong. But yeah, maybe I'll only have to play. Typically I record in 30-minute increments. That's why all the parts are about 30 minutes. Sometimes it will go longer, like part 6 of this commentary will go much longer than 30 minutes, because if it goes over if it's 30 minutes and we're not at a good stopping point, I'm gonna go until we're at a good stopping point, and it just so happens that in part 6 there's not a good stopping point for about more like 45 minutes to an hour. So yeah, part 6 is gonna go very long, but for the most part about 30 minutes until I won't go under 30 minutes usually. Part 1 did, but for the most part it will be about 30 minutes, give or take a couple seconds, or until I find a good stopping point after the 30-minute mark. That's how parts are gonna work. I think I already established that, but you know, it's not like this is scripted, so I might be repeating myself some. This is gonna be a long commentary. I won't be surprised if I repeat myself on some points. I might forget what I've said before, all of that stuff. So just bear with me. This is more, like I said, this is kind of a chill thing. This is just me. I just want to talk about this. This is one of my favorite games. I just want to talk about it. I want to share this with you guys, and thank you for watching. If you are watching, of course, I really appreciate it, because this is a very special game and it deserves attention. Even if I know some people don't like JRPGs or turn-based RPGs, and I totally understand that viewpoint, but just giving this game's story the time of day, I think, is worth it, because this game is something special and is still good to this day. Wow, lightning didn't do shit. And if you are just tuning in for whatever reason to part 4, I am playing the original PlayStation release, just because it's the easiest for me to record. I have a Mac, not a Windows computer, so I can't get the Steam version, so I'm playing this off of an emulator, but I do own a physical copy of the original PS1 version. So, you know, I guess it's not illegal. I do legally own it, and I also own the game on both Switch and PS4 too. But I say I'm playing the PS1 original because there are some key differences. Besides the higher resolution models in the updated version, there's also some changes they made. The musical cues are a bit different in some parts. I think it's unintentional, but some music will cut out in certain segments when it shouldn't, and stuff like that. For the most part, on the Switch's first release, it was rough, but then they updated it and fixed most of the music bugs, which is nice. Specifically one where the music will reset after every battle, so it will start over instead of picking up where it left off, which is what it does in the original game. They fixed that, which is nice. But also, those versions have a weird thing. So in this game, battles run at 15 frames a second. Not very high, but you know, it's the PlayStation we're talking about, and it's not like these are like super action, like they're not timing based. But the menu, what's weird is the top part of the screen where the battle is being seen, that runs at 15, but the menus underneath it, those are running at 60 frames a second. In the re-releases on PS4, Xbox One, and Switch, the menus are also running at 15 frames a second. So if you play them back to back, or like play it if you know the PS1 version very well, the menus are going to feel a lot choppier to go through, which is something that kind of really bothered me when I first played the Switch version. But once you get used to it, I would honestly say it is the definitive version of the game, just because, I think I've mentioned this before, there is a really nice speed up feature, and there is, boosters if you suck at video games and need some help because you want to experience the story, which I think is actually great. It lets more people, get through the game that might not otherwise, so they can see this great story and experience these great characters and these amazing moments that happen. I think it's nothing but helpful because if you consider it cheating and don't want to do it, well, they're optional. Just don't. But anyways, we are almost out of the train graveyard here. And we will get to Sector 7, where, some shit's about to go down, obviously. They're about to drop the entire fucking plate onto Sector 7. So, we got to do something about that pretty clearly. So yeah, that was an awkward cut, but I got into a battle right like a step before we were getting into the next screen. So I had to cut it out, and I didn't really know how to edit it, but it's okay. Here we are. The pillars that they're going to knock down is still standing. So they still have a chance to save everyone. But there's already a battle going on up there. Avalanche is not going down without a fight, let me tell you. This kind of just gives you... I mean, I know it's pre-rendered, but the sense of scale the sense of scale here is really, really impressive, I find. And then somebody's about to get knocked down. Oh no! Oh no! It's Wedge! Wedge just fell off. What the fuck? You remembered my name. Man, he's talking like this is the end. This is serious. I mean, he did just fall from probably like 100 feet up in the air, so it makes sense that he might be, dying. Well, Aerith is going to stay back and help Wedge, and we are going to go up to help Barrett fight, because, he probably needs some help. And we are just saving first, because, can never hurt to save. Saving is always a good thing. Fair tip, saving is good. You should save any chance you get. And we're just running up these stairs, Oh, battle. Another thing the other versions of the game do, they have faster load times, so you might notice it's not long at all, but it does take a second for battles to load in the PS1 original. It's nothing too noticeable, but the other versions of the game, on more modern consoles, they load in battles instantly. There's no hesitation at all in those versions. And Tifa got a level up, that's always nice. Typically, I'm recording, so I'm trying to avoid grinding, just to save file space, and also to not have to edit as much, because you don't really need to grind, but typically in my playthroughs, I am grinding a bit more than this, so usually I'm a higher level. And then Jesse here says, because of our actions, many people died, maybe this is our punishment. They're talking like this is the end. I mean, they're not wrong. I mean, when we blew up that reactor at the beginning, like I said, that killed hundreds of innocent people. So, is it worth getting back at the Shinra? I mean, we're doing it with the cause of saving the planet, but are we really just in doing that? I think it's a really big moral gray area, and I love that aspect. We aren't just completely the good guys versus the bad guys. We might have some flaws in our ideologies too, and I think that's interesting. That's really interesting, because like when the fate of the planet is at stake, supposedly, what sacrifices are okay to make? Is it okay to make those sacrifices? Who's allowed to make those choices? Anyways, we got another boss fight here against Reno of the Turks, and we got this great boss theme again. I will always gush about this game's soundtrack. Reno is not very hard. The only thing that's mildly annoying is he can cast his pyramid move that will paralyze a party member until you hit them, and that will get rid of the pyramid. So that's basically what happens. Anytime a party member gets that pyramid on them, you hit them, and then they stop being stunned, and then they can attack again. Other than that, he doesn't hit very hard. It's not a hard boss fight at all. But as I said, typically I'm a higher level than this because typically I'm grinding. Also, typically I'm playing the re-releases on this game on more modern consoles that have the speed up feature, so I'm really grinding because, I don't know, I'm a little like, I want to just be optimally prepared, but really, there's not really a point in this game where I feel like you would have to grind, specifically with the main story. Optional stuff, you're probably going to have to grind a bit more, but that's why it's optional. Main story, if you just want to get through it, maybe 1 or 2 spots you'll have to grind for like 10-20 minutes to get like a couple levels or something, but for the most part, if you just like fighting all your battles and stuff, you're gonna be fine. And also using materia effectively, you will be fine. So that's very nice. I know a lot of older RPGs are typically criticized for being very grindy, and I think this game is really good about not being grindy. All the Final Fantasy starting with 4, I would say, are really good about that. They balance the games much better. Of course, the NES games are pretty grindy, but they balance the games much better starting in the Super Nintendo era, and that continues through the PlayStation. Except 8, but 8 you don't have to grind. 8's a different story. Anyways, so Reno escaped, and now we have to find a way to defuse this fucking bomb, but from the way they're talking, it seems like it's too late. I don't think there's much you can do. It's not a normal time bomb. And what's this? Okay, so yeah, we can't defuse it because the second somebody touches it, it's gonna blow. So that's a problem. And as Singh is saying, Barrett Baby shouldn't fire his gun so recklessly because Aerith is on the helicopter. They got Aerith. So that's not good. So yeah, they had orders to catch the last remaining Ancient. They have Aerith now. So yeah, and then Aerith tells Tifa that she is alright. Who is she? It's Marlene. She put Marlene in a safe spot, like Tifa asked. So Marlene, who was in Sector 7 before, is safe. So that's good to know. But at the same time, this is not good. The bomb's going off, and we are in the middle of Sector 7. And I am having a spazzing out session with Cloud. He's just, he's spinning. It's fine. So yeah, they gotta think quick if they want to survive, because they are in huge trouble. And Barrett gets the idea to use this wire to swing out and get out of Sector 7. So yeah, that's what they're gonna do. I like how they kind of integrate the actual in-game character models into the FMVs like that. Because it makes the game flow more seamlessly, and it makes the FMVs seem more like they're actually in the gameplay, even though they're not. But it makes it seem like it is. And for 1997, very, very impressive on a technical level that they're doing that. So I think that's really cool. But this is bad. I mean, the plate just collapsed in on Sector 7. That killed God knows how many people. And the President Shinra just watches intently as all this chaos is unfolding before his very eyes. He's not a great guy. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this part of Final Fantasy VII. Tune in next time where we will continue our journey and see where this crazy ass story leads us. Thank you guys for watching.